Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's case investigation. Today, we're going to talk about a terrifying case that happened in Macau. In the summer of 1985, a small restaurant called Eight Immortals Restaurant, which had been in business for nearly 20 years, suddenly became the center of a nightmare. Its owner, Cheng Lam, together with his wife, 4 daughters, 1 son, his mother-in-law, an aunt, and a cousin who worked there. All 10 of them vanished overnight. This wasn't an ordinary missing persons case, but a shocking massacre that shook both Hong Kong and Macau. A few days later, on Koh Loan's Hac Sa Beach in Macau, swimmers suddenly discovered human remains floating in the water. Hands, feet, and even fingers that had been smashed so badly they couldn't be identified. The cuts on the body parts were clean and precise, clearly not caused by an accident, but by someone deliberately using sharp tools. Even more chilling, the victims' fingerprints had almost all been destroyed. This became what people later called the Eight Immortals Restaurant human pork bun case. The Eight Immortals Restaurant was located in Taipa, Macau. Although it was just a neighborhood eatery, it had been operating for nearly 20 years. Its owner, Cheng Lam, was known as an honest man, and his food was tasty and affordable. The restaurant was popular among locals, bringing in more than $1,000 in revenue each day, quite a substantial amount in the 1980s. Cheng's family had 5 children, 4 daughters, and 1 young son. Besides Cheng and his wife, the household also included his mother-in-law, an aunt, and a cousin. On August 8, 1985, in the middle of summer, Hac Sa Beach was crowded as usual. It was one of Macau's most popular places to cool off. That afternoon, a swimmer out in the water suddenly saw a human hand floating nearby. Frightened, he immediately called the police. When officers arrived, they sealed off the area and began searching. Soon, they pulled several human body parts from the sea and shoreline: 4 right feet, 2 left feet, and 2 hands. A few days later, locals even spotted a stray dog carrying a human hand in its mouth. Police returned to search again and uncovered another hand and a right heel. In just a few days, a total of 11 body parts were collected. Preliminary examination showed the remains had been waterlogged and swollen, but the cuts were clean and precise, not the result of an accident at sea. Even more chilling, the fingerprints on 2 of the hands had been smashed or pounded until they were unrecognizable. Investigators believed this was deliberate, proving the killer knew police would use fingerprints to confirm identities and had destroyed them to cover his tracks. From the features of 1 right foot, police estimated there were at least 5 victims. But since the remains could not be fully matched, they did not rule out the possibility of even more. As soon as the news broke, panic swept across Macau. Some suspected it was a gangland vendetta, while others believed it was the work of a deranged serial killer. The pressure on the police skyrocketed. They had to uncover the truth as quickly as possible. Despite an all-out investigation, for 8 long months, the Hac Sa Beach dismemberment case remained at a dead end. Then, in April 1986, a letter mailed from Zhongshan, Guangdong, finally gave the case a breakthrough. The letter was from a man with the surname Cheng. He wrote that since August 1985, he had completely lost contact with his brother Cheng Lam, who lived in Macau, along with his brother's wife and their 7 family members. Even more suspicious, he said, was that his brother's restaurant, the Eight Immortals, along with his properties, had suddenly fallen into the hands of a middle-aged man named Wong. In the letter, he openly stated that he suspected his brother's entire family had met with foul play and urged police to investigate Wong. The police immediately followed up, and what they found was indeed suspicious. The Eight Immortals Restaurant now listed Wong Chi-hang as its new owner. Cheng Lam's 2 properties had also been transferred to Wong. Even the family car, once used by the Chengs, was now being driven by Wong's son. At the same time, investigators questioned neighbors and suppliers and obtained 2 crucial testimonies. First, the restaurant's meat supplier recalled that on the afternoon of August 4th, he personally confirmed an order with Cheng Lam, who even instructed him to deliver extra early the next morning. But when the supplier arrived early on August 5th, he found a notice pasted on the door, closed for 3 days. This struck him as very unusual, since Cheng Lam was known for being hardworking and had never closed the restaurant without reason. Second, a neighbor remembered that at around dawn on August 5th, a man in his 30s went to the home of Cheng's aunt, Chan Lai-chun. He told her that the youngest Cheng boy had suddenly fallen ill with a fever and needed her care. She left with him that night and was never seen again. Based on all the evidence, Macau police had already locked onto Wong Chi-hang, the new owner of the Eight Immortals Restaurant, as the prime suspect. But they also suspected he wasn't acting alone. There were 3 main reasons. First, both the restaurant's meat supplier and Auntie Chan's neighbor reported seeing a man in his 30s at the time of the disappearance. Yet Wong was already in his 50s. When shown, they confirmed the man they saw was not Wong. This suggested another accomplice was directly involved. Second, in 1985, Wong was already 50 years old. While not elderly, it would still have been nearly impossible for one man to overpower 10 people in full consciousness, especially since forensic results showed no trace of drugs or poison in the victims. Third, timing made it even more unlikely. Investigators believed the Chen family was killed between the night of August 4th and the early morning of August 5th. Wong would have had no more than 14 hours to murder 10 people and completely dispose of their bodies before dawn, in the peak of summer heat, when decomposition and odor would set in quickly. Even a professional butcher could not have carried this out alone in such a short time. For these reasons, police concluded that Wong could not have been the only killer. He must have had at least one accomplice. Because they still didn't know who the accomplice was, police chose not to arrest Wong right away, fearing it would alert his partner. Instead, they kept him under 24-hour surveillance. But Wong eventually realized the police were watching him. On September 28, 1986, he left the restaurant and headed straight for the border gate, planning to cross into Zhuhai. Fearing he was about to escape, officers moved in and arrested him on the spot. When they searched him, they made a chilling discovery. Wong's own fingerprints were mutilated, just like those on the severed body parts recovered earlier. One of his fingers was even missing a piece. Why would his hands be in such a state? Could it mean Wong himself had once been a victim? Or was this another twisted part of his dark past? After his arrest, police formally charged him with the murder of 10 people. During questioning, however, he denied everything. He claimed he had simply paid 600,000 Hong Kong dollars to buy the restaurant and properties from Cheng Lam, and insisted that the Cheng family had left Macau because of heavy gambling debts. He emphasized that it was all a legitimate business deal and had nothing to do with murder. However, investigators soon found copies of the Cheng family's identity papers, their re-entry permits, and even keys to their safe, all locked inside Wong's own safe. These discoveries completely undermined his story. the case sent shockwaves through Macau and Hong Kong. Because the victims included elderly people and even a child as young as 7, public outrage was enormous. Inside prison, other inmates despised him. Reports say that by his 3rd day in custody, he had already been beaten so badly he had to be sent to the hospital. In early October, he twice attempted to harm himself. The first time, he used a metal trash can to slash his wrists, but guards discovered him in time and saved his life. On October 4th, however, he tried again, this time using the ring pull from a soda can. That morning, he was found bleeding heavily. He was rushed to the hospital, but died from massive blood loss. His sudden death only made the case more mysterious. Some believed he couldn't bear the pressure and took his own life. Others suspected his death had been arranged by powerful figures who wanted him silenced. The truth will never be known. But Wong's death did not close the case. In fact, it stirred even more debate because he left behind a so-called confession letter. This letter, sent to a newspaper before his death, he insisted he had nothing to do with the disappearance of the Cheng family from the Eight Immortals Restaurant. He claimed the Chengs owed him more than 100,000 Hong Kong dollars in gambling debts. And after handing over their restaurant and properties as collateral, they emigrated overseas. He wrote, "When a man is about to die, his words are truthful," and explained that his suicide was due to asthma and life's pressures, not guilt. After all, the evidence already showed he was deeply connected to the Chen family's disappearance. Meanwhile, horrifying rumors spread among the public that the bodies of the Cheng family had been cooked into char siu pork buns and served to unsuspecting customers. Although police never found any concrete evidence of this, the human pork bun story became widely believed, making the case even more infamous and terrifying. Although Wong Chi-hang never spoke about the case in prison, one of his fellow inmates later claimed that Wong had privately confessed to him. While this account is only one-sided and cannot be proven, it remains the only relatively complete version of how the crime may have unfolded. According to the cellmate, back in 1984, Wong often visited the Eight Immortals Restaurant to play mahjong with Cheng Lam. One night, Wong's luck was incredible. He won nearly 180,000 Hong Kong dollars from Cheng. Though Cheng had the restaurant and properties, he lacked the cash to pay immediately. He promised Wong he would settle the debt within a year, or else hand over the restaurant. When the deadline passed, Wong pressed him again, but Cheng kept stalling. On the evening of August 4th, 1985, the two quarreled violently. Cheng flatly refused to keep his promise. Enraged, Wong smashed a wine bottle and grabbed Cheng's only son, holding the boy hostage. The rest of the family dared not resist, and under Wong's orders, they were forced to tie one another up. At first, Wong only wanted to use this tactic to pressure Cheng into repayment. But in the chaos, Cheng's wife suddenly lunged forward, trying to snatch back her son. Wong slashed her throat with the broken glass, killing her instantly. Realizing there was no turning back, he proceeded to murder the rest of the family one by one. In the end, even the 7-year-old boy in his arms was not spared. The only person absent that night was the aunt, Chan Lai-chun. To eliminate all witnesses, Wong arranged for an accomplice to lure her out by pretending the little boy had fallen ill, then brought her to the Cheng home where she too was killed. The cellmate claimed Wong then spent 8 full hours disposing of the bodies. He dismembered them, packed the remains into garbage bags, and dumped them in landfills and by the sea. This, he said, explained why body parts later washed up on Hac Sa Beach. Even more horrifying, he alleged that some flesh was cooked into soup or made into pork buns, which were then sold to unsuspecting customers. This became the origin of the infamous human pork bun legend. Still, this account remains only the word of a prison informant. Whether it was the truth can never be confirmed. Wong Chi-hang was regarded as the prime suspect. Was he really the sole killer, or did he have accomplices? Was the legend of the human pork buns a gruesome truth, or just a terrifying rumor? And who exactly was the mysterious man in his 30s seen by neighbors that night? Perhaps the truth died with Wong Chi-hang himself. But every time this case is retold, it reminds us, no matter how carefully planned, every crime will leave its trace.